Hi, I'm Brandon. I'm proud to say that I love Up, Faith, and Family mom movies.
Oh, my God.
Hi, I'm Jax, and I'm honored to say that I really like Up, Faith, and Family mom movies.
I'm Dan, and I'm obligated to tell you that I despise Up, Faith, and Family mom movies, and this is the Deck the Hallmark Podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast. We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Now, Dan, I don't think this is what you meant, but when you say that you're obligated to say it, it makes it seem like that's not what you actually want. What you want to say is that you really love.
After you said you were honored, when
Yes.
you're clearly not honored, I wanted it to be very clear that someone needs to be honest here. I feel like our obligation to the listener is to be honest. And when you say you're honored to watch this movie, that is a lie. And so I am
It is an
trying
honor.
to make sure
I find honor in this.
that people, you're honored to watch an Up, Faith, and Family mom movie.
100% I'm honored to do so. 100%. I can
What's
honestly
the
say-
honor?
The honor is that I get to do this for my job. It's a true honor.
It's an honor to just do the whole job.
100%.
Not specifically Up, Faith, and Family
I think
mom
it's
movies.
all encompassing. No. Hi, sweet Jax. How are you, friends?
I thought you were going to call me Sweet Cheeks.
Hey, sweet Jax.
I don't think we can do that.
Wait, did you say honored or did I say honored?
He said honor, and then you were like, I got to do it. Like normally, Brand sets the tone there.
So
He's the
he
pace
said,
card.
Okay,
Yes,
so
yes,
I
yes.
just yes-anded
That's right.
it.
Yeah, you yes-handed. Exactly.
I didn't even think about whether or not that was true or not. I'm excited
That was
to talk about
improv for
this.
you. You were yes-anding. That's totally fine. Yeah.
I get it, Bran. We are very lucky.
We're so lucky.
To be doing what we do.
We're so lucky.
During this Lenten season.
That's exactly right. Yes. Dan wishes that he could have given up these movies for Lent, but I would.
Yeah. That'd have been awesome.
Because I can't do it. Sorry, it's for the Lord. There's my hands
for
are
the
tied. Jax, how are you? Are you doing well?
I'm really good. I just found out yesterday that I'm going to be the best friend in a rom-com.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
Yes.
Can
I
you-
don't know what network it's going to.
Princess Diaries 3. That's unbelievable.
Can you tell us anything else?
The only thing I can say is I'm playing the best friend and it films in Alabama soon. And when I say that's the only thing I can say, it's because it's really the only things I know.
Wow.
Where can you-
I know the title of it.
Have you
That's
been-
not
Alabama.
Canada.
Have you been to Alabama before, Jax?
I've never been to Alabama.
Man, I've got a
Is it
primer
nice?
for you. I mean, no. There are parts of it that are nice. You know.
Birmingham?
Birmingham is a very historic. It's a very historic area. Yeah.
Wait, that seems, well, oh, yeah.
And
I was like, that seems loaded.
it's a
and then I
weird
understood.
way. Like there's a lot of great ways to go into and see how they've memorialized some really cool stuff in Birmingham, but also like it's a weird vibe in my opinion.
I think I'm staying a few extra days too, so
Yeah.
that might be. I might have to really like dive in and
Yeah.
do my research.
Well, we're really happy for you. That's really exciting.
I wonder. I'll see what network this goes to. It might be up.
How'd you get the gig? Was it you audition? Was it a friend or?
It was an audition.
How about you?
Crushed it.
Yeah. So none of my relationships in this in this world have helped me with this. Maybe they've been hindering me when I've been trying to go through Hallmark. Like I would love if this did go to Hallmark and they're like, crap.
Yeah. She's back.
Yeah, she's back. And we tried to, she found another way in.
That's right.
Well,
She found another
there's
way
been
in.
so much turnover. They don't know who you are.
That is the comfort.
Yeah.
At this
Yeah.
point, they're like,
Who? Jacklyn Collier. Yeah. From Jacklyn Collier
Yeah,
presents
they
Jacklyn
can't
Collier's Fit
remember
for
the
Christmas.
stellar
Yes.
work that I do.
They know you from Fit for Christmas.
Fit for Christmas.
100%.
Of course.
I'll tell you about a movie that didn't air on Hallmark, which is interesting because the first quad of movies did air on Hallmark, The Love Club. You remember it?
Love Club. It was in Hallmark streaming before the Plus, right?
Yeah, that's
It
I
wasn't.
think
It wasn't on. It was Hallmark. Whatever. It was.
Hallmark Movies Now.
Hallmark
I
Movies
believe.
Now got an
Oh,
exclusive.
so this is the same Love Club that Brittany did before.
It's in the same universe,
but it's not the same four ladies.
That is why she pops up for a second in this.
Yeah, here in my head, I was crazy enough to think that the Love Club moms would be the four ladies from the Love Club who are all now moms, or it's their moms. But no, it's just four completely different women.
I'd love to hang out with Britt Bristow's mom. I'm sure she's great.
Okay.
Agnes, she's a delight.
Agnes.
I bet she is. All right, Love Club moms, Tory. Originally dropped on Up's streaming service.
It's an
interestingly enough.
Exclusive for Ups.
Faith and Families. Go ahead.
No. We can handle this during the show. I expected this because it says Up Faith and Family. I expected this one to be more religious than other Up content.
No,
and it wasn't. So that's
no faith in this.
It really is. The faith there is like a lot like the points in Whose Lines Anyway. Like they don't matter.
Faith doesn't matter.
I think that's because they put Southern Gospel on and they're trying to maybe draw some viewers from another more religiously focused network. That'd be my guess, because
that makes sense.
Up Faith and Family doesn't really have, the movies are just Hallmark movies half the budget is what
almost even more so in the fact that I thought it was going to be a storyline that Tory found God, because she says to her friend, I don't believe in that stuff. And even my friends who are
Tory's rededication is what it should have been called.
Can you imagine?
Honestly, I thought that's where it was going to go, because even my friends who are atheists or agnostic will say things that if they know it's comforting to you, they say it without the caveat every time of like, I don't believe that crap. You know what I mean? And I just thought it was so interesting that they put that in there rather than just like, well, I'm thinking about you.
Yeah.
You know?
Interesting. But there's a nookie joke in this movie.
There is.
Baby doll, that's written down.
Nookie joke.
Faith and Family. New family. We're going to start one. All right. The Love Club moms, Tory, originally aired on the Faith and Family Network on February 7th, 2025. It went a little something like this. The movie starts with Tory talking to a picture of a baby that is on her phone. She tells the baby picture that she's going to be her mom soon. Then she gets a call from her boyfriend, Brad, who apparently breaks up with her when he finds out that she's adopting a baby. Tory goes to her goddaughter's play at the local school and bumps into her friend Neela. While there, they meet Harper, and I guess someone knows somebody there.
Somebody knows somebody there. Although the conversation
she's really struggling. And then we meet Vice Principal Bell. Together, they form the Love Club. Moms. Tory is having a mom emergency. That's a mom emergency. And she needs a nanny. And so all the moms come together to interview some applicants. And none of them are quite to Tory's standard. That is until we meet Finn. Finn is an aspiring author, and he shows up at Tory's publishing company with a manuscript, but he can tell that they're not interested. They just throw it in some stack, and he's like, I really need to make sure that she reads this, because I know if she just reads it, this is going to be what I need for my career to take off. And so he tracks down where the CEO of the company lives. That CEO is Tory. And he goes to knock on the door to hand the manuscript to her. What he doesn't know is they are smack dab in the middle of interviews for the nanny. And so he just rolls with it, and he ends up being really great with the baby, and he gets the job. So Finn decides not to tell Tory his real intentions. Instead, he plans to get his manuscript in front of her and hope that she sees it. He goes to her office with the baby and leaves the manuscript there, but then the baby spits up all over it, and so he tosses it in the trash. Meanwhile, there's a new guy at Tory's work named Greg who is clearly into her. He wants to become a power couple. He doesn't even get mad when the baby spits up and lands on his sweater. What a guy! And he asks her out on a date. Finn babysits while Tory goes on this date with Greg, and while at her place, Finn finds a manuscript in her bedroom, lays on her bed, and starts reading it. When Tory gets home, she fires him for being a creep. But then she hires him back because the Love Club moms tell her to chill out, and they start picking up on the fact that she and Finn have chemistry, plus they really don't like Greg. Tory starts hanging out with Finn more and more and actually starts to enjoy herself. What's up with that? They even go on a business trip together with the baby. He tags along because he's, the nanny. And so they go to convince this author to sign with her company, which he does. But then Finn recognizes this author's work, that it's reads it and is like, this is plagiarism, tells Tory about that. And Tory's like, you're a godsend. This is amazing. Tory reads Finn's manuscript finally, and tells him that it womps. Sorry, kid. You're just not cut out for this type of business. Greg keeps shooting his shot, but Tory ultimately turns him down. Then the truth comes out. Finn was never really a nanny. He just kind of, stumbled into the job. And so Tory tells him to scram. But the Love Club moms track Finn down and tell him that he's actually a really great nanny and shouldn't give up on that or on his love. And so he, shows up and he's sitting there and he's like, hey, can you please give this to her? This is a manuscript that I have in my bag, ready to go. It's new, it's improved, it's a kid's book. They bring that to Tory, and she loves it. And she shows up and finds him sitting there on a park bench, and is like, this is great. You are great, and I would like to see where things go between us. They end up kissing, and that, my friends, was the Love Club Moms, Tory.
We did it.
We did do it.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll break down the Love Club Moms, Tory, here on
Deck the Hallmark.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're talking about the Love Club Moms, Tory. We've had a lot of Ashley Newbro movies. Between the Newbro movies,
yes.
Between the Hearts on the Table, we've been seeing her weekly. Now we're going to see her weekly
that
here.
promo was adorable when Bran was like talking to her. You guys are so cute.
Thanks. All right. Shall we dive in? I think we shall. Let's start with a hot take. Let's share our thoughts on this movie. It's just nice to be reviewing something that's not When Calls to Heart. Let's be honest. And so, Jax, Love Club Moms, Tory, what'd you think?
Okay, and Dan, I know you're gonna think I'm lying. I know you are, and I'm willing to. Here's the thing: is this a good movie if you're talking about the plot, some of the pacing, no, maybe it's not. But I will tell you, honest to goodness, I enjoyed so much of this film. I think these four women, well, 3 out of the 4, hot.
They're all getting their movies, right?
They are. And look, the hot blonde with the glasses. Look, I'm just over that trope of like the hottest person you can imagine. Then we have the glasses, and you're like, I'm a nerd.
That's right.
It's like, girl.
No one pays
In her movie, she's going to walk down the stairs with glasses off, hair down, and everybody's going to be like, oh my God.
100%. And like that always just kind of like irks me a little because they're not even trying to make her look like when Amy Groening, is that how you say her name? Groening? Yeah. When she plays a sort of nerdy, quirky character, she's gorgeous, but they really try and actually have her like feel a little nerdy. This one, they were like, just stick some thick glasses on. Okay. But with all that being said, did this weird friendship start too soon? And was it like forced intimacy and didn't really feel like it made sense? Yes, absolutely. But once we were there, look, I thought this was really fun. As someone who was a nanny for years, I am a sucker for a nanny movie. I thought that Ashley Newbro and her nanny, Manny, actually had a ton of chemistry with each other. I thought he was really good with the kid, and not like sometimes you watch these movies where the guy's with the kid and it's like insufferable. insufferable. And I actually just thought he had a really nice chemistry and way with her. And I really actually enjoyed watching this. Again, that doesn't mean that it's a good movie or that I'm saying it's a good movie, but I just had a good time. And like, that's the truth of it.
That's the truth of it. I don't know what to tell you. What did you think of the baby's performance?
Oh, I actually okay. So I actually thought the baby was adorable, and like, look, this is a little baby. What would you guys say? Like 7 months old, maybe?
Under
pretty,
a year,
pretty
yes.
fresh.
Yeah,
for sure,
under a year for sure. And like, she was able to like hold it together and also just be not. Guys, sometimes they look a little ugly, right? When they're little babies.
I love this from you. I
didn't know how to say it. I didn't know how to say it.
I got a dear friend of ours. I said, we were just talking in regular conversation, a dear friend of Brain and myself. And I said, some babies are just ugly, like it was just a thing. Yeah. And this friend of ours got really angry at me. Like, you can't say that. That's not true. And I thought I was on an island there, but the one and only Jacklyn Collier is with me. And this makes me feel great.
Oh, 100%. And I will say, like, I do firmly believe that like it changes when they get older and like they grow into whatever it is. But I'm telling you, there are ugly babies, and that's okay. Like, they're still cute ugly.
Yeah.
They're so small.
Man,
they're ugly, cute.
If you
cute,
think
ugly.
this isn't going to be the real, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, some babies are ugly. And
His baby was cute though.
Aaron, just put a bunch of really ugly babies like on.
You pick
like below.
Aaron,
like
you pick the uggos out and you put them up.
But splice in some non-ugly babies,
Yes.
and then let the people decide.
Let
Like,
the
what are
people
they
decide.
go? What are they going for here?
I'll just send you my baby pictures. It was never loving disaster.
No
and look
way.
at me now.
No way.
Go. I'm sorry. What's that, Aaron?
Do you want me to just make a reel of like hot or not, and it's just a bunch of babies? Like, what do you
Well, let's work on the name. Let's work on the name. But I like where you're going. I like where you're going. Yes.
For Taylor Swift, "Sexy Baby," yes or no?
What?
She has a lyric, but that says "sexy baby," and it's.
And she didn't get canceled for that? No. I hate it. So this movie, first of all, starts off and I don't know what's really happening. Like, I don't know how well the moms like know each other. I know that Tory and Neela are close because, you know, she's Neela's daughter's godmother. That was probably the worst way I could have said it. But so I know they're really close. But then there's like the woman who's in the hallway. I don't even remember what her name is. Badaboo Harper.
Yeah.
Who's just kind of there. And I don't know. I think Neela knows her somewhat. And then Vice Principal Bell, who total uggo, shows up and they're like, there's VP Bell, and I don't know, like, I know they know her because she's the vice principal, but I didn't know if they're friends. And then next thing you know, they're like being the people who are deciding who's the nanny. And the baby, like, there wasn't like a big leap in time because we see the picture of baby and then we see baby post adoption, which super speedy process.
It was a 5 month.
5 monther, you think?
Oh, they skipped ahead 5 months. That would help
did
a
they
ton.
say that,
I
or
think he said 5 months later.
They did. Okay, great.
That helps a lot.
Yeah, 5 months
But I
is
mean,
great.
look, that's accelerated intimacy,
Yeah.
baby. 4 working women are able to become best friends in 5 months.
There's just no
I
world.
can barely get a dinner on the books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
To like for the Love Club OG Jacks, they met in college. And like they would have these Zooms, and now they're adults, and they're still the people that come together when they need something, need some advice or whatever. But they met in college. These are like it was just a different thing. So that was it. Like I just didn't know how close they were, so it like was throwing me off. And then like. This is truly best case scenario for what happens here when Strange Man shows up, stumbles his way into a nanny gig. Like, this is best case scenario. Finn's best case scenario. And that scenario is still not great because he has, like, when someone shows up and they have ulterior motives and stumble their way into a nanny position, that can go wrong in a lot of different ways. And luckily it didn't. Luckily Finn is, really great with the kid. Actually is a really solid Manny, if you will. And so that's great. He's just trying to get his work found out. And so what can you do? So there's a lot about this movie that shouldn't work, and by golly, did it work for Bran. I like this movie more than any of the Hearts Around the Table movies so far. I found this to be really fun, really ridiculous. I liked this actor, Finn. He's just like, he's not your traditional like Hallmark hunk. He's like, he walked in, I was like,
could find.
He walks in and I'm like, is this guy the lead? This is like, you're just so used to a Marcus Rosner, and not saying that this guy is like, he's still, a 10 compared to old Bran over here, but like,
don't sell yourself short, Bran.
thanks, Dan.
Yeah.
But like, it would be like me showing up, and then being like, is he the lead? Yeah, I think I am the lead. And so I appreciate
I think
that.
this guy is hotter than Marcus Rosner. And you know what, Bran? I think you're hotter than both
I'll
of
send
them.
that to old Marcus.
I love it.
No, it's just this guy's more my type. Marcus, you're adorable. But that wasn't also Bran. I think you're better looking than both of them.
Oh, you're so
Yeah,
sweet, Jackson.
now she's
but
just
you know what
lying.
I'm saying? There is a Hallmark guy type, right? And this guy's not that guy. And it was just really nice. Like, I thought this guy was really great. And, I've seen a lot of Ashley over the past month. She's been in every movie we've watched. And, I just thought, this was the best of what I've seen with these type of movies. And I think it was because it was so wacky and ridiculous and different. And so it worked for me. Dano?
This movie's a disaster. What you heard for those two is like trying to contextualize this movie into goodness. Both Jax and Bran tell you why they think it's good. That it's not. It doesn't stand on alone as good because it isn't. Here's what I will say. The Love Club, which Bran mentioned, Jax, for even more context, they spend a lot of time showing you how the Love Club meets. Like every Love Club movie starts back at this sorority house where all four of these women, their lives converge at one point in time in college, and then it jumps ahead to adulthood. And so they spend a lot of time investing in the fact that these folks are lifelong best friends. And then they proceed to make boring movies afterwards. This movie spends zero time with the backstory, zero time with this is why these four ladies are best friends. None, doesn't earn it. And then they proceed to just make a bonkers new movie that doesn't hold water at all, but might be more entertaining than the Love Club movies, because the Love Club movies are pretty boring. And this movie is, and I've got plenty of wait what, so I'm just going to tell you the actual premise of this movie that we've not really gotten into, which is a man wants his manuscript to be read by a boss of a publishing company who is a woman with an infant. He does some research, stalks her, finds her address, shows up unannounced at her home, rings the doorbell, is mistaken for a candidate to nanny her infant child, goes along with it.
That's right.
They never do a background check on this guy. They never get any information. They just say you're hired, and then they leave him alone with the child. That is what this movie is.
That's right.
When Branson's best case scenario, it is the Doctor Strange 1 in a million scenario at the end of Avengers. The idea that this doesn't end up with someone dead is crazy.
Yeah.
At least one person dead.
Yeah.
One is a minimum here.
This is the one cut of this movie that's not a Lifetime movie.
It is the one cut of this movie that's not a Lifetime movie. Yeah. Jax, you didn't think in your head, they're not running a background check. This guy, remember, it's bad that they don't run a background check, but you know what's worse? Being the guy who just wants his manuscript read and he believes so strongly in it that he stalks a woman to her house, rings the doorbell, gets mistaken for a nanny candidate, has never kept a child in his life, and he goes, worth it. Worth it. I'm going to dive in here and maybe I'll keep this kid alive.
It's a long game.
Long enough for her to read my book.
It's a long game.
I assumed they had done a background check, because a background check would have come back for him squeaky clean.
Yeah, it would have come back squeaky clean, but also with no experience. They would have checked references.
They didn't check. I think they did a background check, but didn't check references.
Every single person that has kept that kept my kids when they were babies, I called references. Every single one. Right? This is wild.
Would this have worked for you better? Because I was thinking about this too, because obviously this is like upsetting if you're really thinking about this. Like, it's wild to think about. Like, as someone who was a nanny for years as a side hustle while I was pursuing creative pursuits, and he says he's done a bunch of different jobs. I'm like, why weren't you just a manny?
Yeah.
Like, why didn't that be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, that's not why I was here, but you know
It
what?
would have been so much better.
Yeah,
Jax.
it would be easy.
But
It'd be
also,
easy to pivot.
like, that's a good reason for him to go to her house too. Like, what we have instead is, let me do some digging, Beth Ann McGraw-Smith style, and find this woman's personal address.
Love that.
Show up at their house unannounced, ring a doorbell, get mistaken for a nanny, and just go, let me see if I can be Vin Diesel in The Pacifier. You know what I mean? Like, that is what happens in this movie. And so
Family.
for me, I couldn't get past that. I couldn't get past the number of crimes that were being committed, and the fact that he thought it was worth it to get his book read, that he was going to take in his care, in his stead, a 10-month-old baby and just be like,
Heck yeah, bro.
maybe I can keep the baby alive long enough for her to read this book.
Can I ask one more follow-up? Because I'm curious about this.
Yeah.
So I had a friend who used to nanny for Hugh Jackman's kids. I've actually had numerous friends who have nannied for people in the business, their kids. Because yes, they need a nanny job, but also because it's like, yeah, the more people you know in this business, the more it helps. Do you think that that is like manipulative, or do you think it would have been above board if he was like, okay, this is another way in. I am a nanny. I'll get to know her, and then I'll slip my manuscript in. But this is also.
I think if he's
what
a
I do.
real nanny,
Yeah.
if he has experience and references,
Yeah.
I'm fine with the maybe I'll get my book. That is like when we talk to people at, like, sometimes we'll be at Christmas Con and stuff, and it's like, hey, maybe we'll meet these people because we're podcasters, and then we can pitch something else to them. I'm fine with that. My problem is all the stalking that went in to lie by accident, and then he's really going to do it. Like, at some point I was like, he's not really going to keep the kid. Like, he can't really keep the kid. He can't really go, I've never kept a child in my life. I live with a bro, and we play video games and drink beer all day. I can keep a 10-month-old alive. That's just terrifying in general. So that's where it lost me, and it never got me back, quite frankly. And the movie is not without its charms, and its charms being this is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I think what you're saying is that you just would, if the movie's not going to be high art, you'd rather watch this
That's right.
than watch something that is just kind of bleh.
That's right.
And so that's fair. That, in my opinion, I just separate those, and one Love Club movie probably better, and then at least one, if not two, Hearts Around the Table I would have better than this movie.
Okay. Hugh Jackman, good guy?
I hear he's great.
She loved him. She loved his wife. His wife at the time.
Yes, about to
That's
say.
right. Rest in peace. She's
No,
not dead.
ex, he's
Married,
not
the
dead. Come on,
marriage is-
man.
Sutton Foster, baby. Well, yeah, he's with Sutton Foster now.
Who's Sutton Foster?
Oh,
Of
early
Sutton
Modern Millie,
Foster fame?
Bunheads, Younger,
You're just saying a bunch of
Music
names that I
Man.
don't. Yeah.
Drowsy Chaperone. I'm listing a mix of TV shows and musicals.
Oh,
confusing.
yeah, I know who this is.
She's incredible.
Great.
You just hate, you hate when they were together for a long time. Which
A long time.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah.
I hope they're doing well. Hope everybody's happy. It's time for all the feels.
We went into more Hugh Jackman talk that I thought we were gonna.
I'll just say
Ever.
this: it's the greatest show.
Oh yes.
It's
I
time
thought
for
you guys were gonna sing it.
Dan doesn't like it.
I don't like The
Dan
Greatest
doesn't
Showman.
like it,
And I do like musicals. I don't like The Greatest Showman. You
I don't
can't-
like the story, but that song is so good.
the song. My problem. Would you agree with me though, Jax, that a musical can't be all finales? Like
Yeah,
that
totally.
musical
There's no
is just
build.
it's all. That's right. There's no ebb and flow. There's no build. There's no give and take. It's just
That's right.
all finales.
Heck
That's
yeah.
why it's fun to listen to songs in isolation, but only one at a time.
That's right. Like This Is Me, a banger.
Yep.
A banger.
Such a banger.
Yeah, but after that song, I feel like the next hour of that movie is just a sledgehammer to my head, to my eardrums, of just like, not another finale.
I'll pass your note along to Pasek and Paul
Please do.
while they're swimming in their money.
That's fine.
Let's get to all the feels.
I'll swim in my integrity.
You don't think Pasek and Paul have integrity? I'll pass that along
I
as well.
said
Jax, what'd you think of? You have feels?
I have three. One of them, and I'm sorry I haven't mentioned it earlier. Dan, I'm obsessed with your shirt. Stop trying to sit at the tables Jesus flipped. Where is this from?
It's from the Happy Givers. It's a company that makes shirts like this one. So yeah, you should go. And they also give, what do? It's a meal program. So when you give money to them, they're out of Puerto Rico and they give meals to folks in need. So yeah, it's a great company.
Thank you. Very cool. I
thank
follow
you.
them on Instagram, but I haven't bought anything yet. So that's my reminder.
Give them some time with the shipping. They're
think
giving
I
out
will.
meals. That's the key.
I will give them some time with the shipping. I'll consider a donation. Then if I get something back, great.
Yeah, that's great. That's the way to go.
They're happy givers. They're not speedy givers.
Yeah.
Happy
That's,
givers.
that's right. That's right. My other two feels. Look, seeing our girl Britt Bristow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Even though it was only for a moment, it's like it's just when you're first of all just such a beloved member of this like rom-com community, but also when you're a good actor, you can take the smallest little thing and make it like it's a full character and just so interesting. The other thing was when I thought this was so sexy and awesome when Ashley Newborough turned around and told that jerky British guy that his scones were dry. The way she said it, I hooped and hollered. So that was a big feel for Jax.
Yeah. You want, speaking of, I'll go into my fields. Speaking of Britt Bristow and Rosner, who are both in this movie, while I'm watching this movie and I see them and I'm like, oh yeah, there they are. I'm on Instagram and who's filming another movie together right now? Britt Bristow and Marcus Rosner.
Yeah, they are.
And that makes me happy because I love them very much. Dan?
Yeah, seeing our boy Marcus Rosner out there, Britt Bristow, that was mine too. Good for them. Glad they got that cameo in the 5th Loves Club movie.
There you go.
That they built.
I wonder if they're going to be in all 4. You think you think
Do
the
you
other
think the other Love Club members
somehow
will show up
at their bed and breakfast or whatever?
Oh my gosh, what a weird thing.
Try and stop me. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll get to the way, what, and the what, the hallmark. Here on Deck the Hallmark. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're talking about the Love Club. Mom's Tory. Listen to the way what is we're talking about what in this movie made us go, wait, what? I'll start with you, Jax.
I have a couple. A couple are pretty quick, but this one just requires a little bit of discussion because it's a question. Is he Irish? Like he's lost most of his accent? Like why did they make him Irish? Because he only has that accent slightly for a little bit, which people do lose their accent if they've been here long enough.
I thought he did that when
I thought he just did the accent one time. I thought he didn't have an accent until that one
like he
little
said,
scene.
he was like on my mom's side or whatever. I thought he was doing
That's offensive.
I thought
Pretty
he was
sure we're
doing,
going to get some.
Well,
Oh,
BrandonDeckTheHallmark.com.
so he's not actually, because I thought I heard him do it a couple of other times.
Guys,
And
maybe
then when
he's
her-
not a good actor. You guys keep praising this guy.
Whoa.
Maybe.
No, the thing is, here, and this is what I was really thinking about. He's definitely a good actor. He was great in this role. I can imagine someone being like, this guy is Irish, and this guy was really good. He could work his way through the audition, and then he's like, I can't maintain this. And they should have just been like, great, the guy's not Irish. Doesn't matter. Because when our dad introduced himself, he was like, top of the morning to you. Like the dad was.
Yeah, that's right.
Sort of insinuating that it was because he was British, because then when he looked at the English guy, he was like, it's jolly good to see you. And I was like, wow, okay. There's a lot happening.
A lot of moving parts.
He was just doing it as a joke and he wasn't really supposed to be
That's
Irish.
how I
The
took
only
it.
time I
but-
really heard the accent strong was when they're doing the interview and they're like, McDougal, are you Irish? And he does a bit about on his mother's side. So half Irish,
Gotcha.
I guess.
Okay,
Yes.
on
maybe
my mother's
that's,
side.
Irish.
then it actually clarifies it for me. I think the other things for me were, okay, so when he's in her bedroom, the same thing when I was a nanny, it's disrespectful and weird, frankly, to be in the parents' bedroom. However, it was not, the fact that it seems like he said that she took it as a sex thing, and as Brand mentioned, like the nookie of it all, ew, no, like she would just be like, why are you in here? He could say he was looking for something and she could reprimand him and say to stay out of there. But there's no way in any scenario a mom would think that he was trying to seduce her.
Jax, you're 100% right. Of all the things that she has been cool with in this movie, like hiring a nanny that she has not called a single reference for or done a background check on, fine. Having him show up to her work unannounced with baby, fine. Giving him free run of the house while she's gone, and all of a sudden he's in her room and she's like, "This is unbelievable." I just don't understand.
I honestly, I do feel like he ended up in her room because he was looking for something, I think, and then
Yeah.
he sees the manuscript and that pulls him in, and then next thing you know, he's in her bed. But again, this goes back to, once again, this is another best case scenario of this guy ending up in her bed. And it's all above board.
There's so many crimes. There's so many crimes. There's so much criminal activity. I get it. Listen, in retrospect, when she finds out that he wasn't a nanny, she should never speak to him again.
That's right.
I don't care what kind of connection they have. At that point, you'd be like, wait a minute, you knew you weren't a nanny and you took my child's life into your hands when you had no experience and you didn't tell me for your own selfish reasons. There's nothing he can do to get out from under that rubble, in my opinion. But like, you have like that baby probably recognizes the mom's room. Like, there are plenty of reasons baby's crying. You got that baby. You're singing to that baby. You're holding that baby. You're walking around the house into all the rooms. That would be pretty common. Like that would be like a thing that people would do to calm a child. So weird that this is the thing that draws where she draws the line, for sure.
And last thing, when he said, "Hey there, Mama Bear." What? She's your boss.
Yeah, hey there,
What
Mama
do we
Bear.
do? And I know that he wrote the book about Mama Bear,
Yeah.
and that would be one thing if later on, but he said, "Hey there, Mama Bear," when she walked in, and I was like, this feels like sexual harassment.
Yes, it does.
Hey
Yes,
there,
it
Mom
does.
Bear.
Yeah.
Didn't love it. Listen, she is through the adoption process.
Yes.
I know the baby that I am going to be adopting. I have picture of baby.
Yes.
I know all of this. Her boyfriend calls.
Yeah.
And she says,
BT Dubs.
BT Dubs, I'm adopting baby. This is literally what she says. What's your take on kids? That's a phone call that she has with her boyfriend while she's already going through and is pretty far down the road in the adoption process. And then she's shocked when he breaks up with her. That was such a crazy, just even saying on the phone, "Hey, what's your take on kids?" That's an in-person. Let's
Even if
talk
you're not
over dinner.
adopting someone
For sure.
You and your significant other getting serious.
Yeah.
You would sit down for that conversation.
Yeah, hey, like what's you got
she
to talk
doesn't
about all the
owe
big
him-
things.
She doesn't owe him anything. But
No.
the idea that she would just go, what'd you take on kids? That was wild.
Hey, real quick, while
Yeah.
I think I'm finalizing adoption in a couple days. What's your take on kids?
No pressure.
Before I surprise you with this child.
It's the same thing that we're supposed to be on her side.
Yeah.
When she introduces her kid to the guy who didn't know she had a kid.
Yeah, that's tough.
Like she brings him down and he looks surprised and he goes to drink the bottle, but then drinks the wine. Look, his reaction was a little bit yucky, but I love kids. And if someone told me they had a kid by springing it on me in that way, I would just be like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm thrilled you have a kid, but
Right.
why are you doing it with
Yes,
this, you weirdo?
correct.
I did love when they were all in the school together meeting for the first time. This person walks up behind them with a camera and just says, "Love Club?" And they're like, "What just happened to you, Drex? Are you okay?"
You all right?
I got too excited. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay. The person with the camera is like, "Love Club?" And they're like, "What?"
What?
And then the person points behind them and it just says the Love Club behind them on the wall. And they're like, "Oh, yeah." And then they take a picture.
And they're like, I guess that's her name now.
There's so much about it that I don't understand. Who is she? What's she taking a picture for? Like, why would there be a picture of 4 moms under the Love Club in the yearbook? I don't know. What is the love? Why is there a Love Club at school? What does that mean? What do they do? Lots of questions.
It would be like if
about
you ran into
everything.
your 2 friends at Publix.
Yes.
And you didn't know me, and I came up with a camera and I went, Boar's Head Deli? And you guys were like, what? And then you look behind you and it says Boar's Head Deli.
And we're
and
like,
you're like, oh, Boar's Head Deli. And you take a picture and you call yourself the Boar's Head Deli from that
exactly
point
right.
forward.
That's right.
That's what happened in that scene.
Yeah. This guy does something interesting, which is he's making up this story, Mama
Yeah.
Bear, whatnot. She is like overhearing the story and, it's clearly about her. And he ends the story by saying that she eats too much carbs. And that was an interesting thing to do.
And he doesn't know she's listening.
She doesn't know that. I mean, maybe it was a bit, maybe it was a joke. I don't know.
Ashley Newbro.
Ashley Newbro eats too many carbs. Okay. And then the last one is when he has his new manuscript, and it is a stack. It is huge. Yeah. And then we hear what I think is the whole thing, and it's a page tops of story. I don't know what the other is. Maybe he put the new one on top of his old manuscript that was at the exact same size. I don't know, but I also love that she always starts reading manuscripts by flipping to the end. That's a fun thing she does. Dan?
Not only does she call Brad and go, hey, BT Dubs, what's your take on kids? After that conversation doesn't go well, shockingly, she breaks out her, and I want to make sure I get this right, spreadsheet of men, where she has 12 men listed that I think she's in the process of currently dating or talking to. And she has a checklist for all 12 men.
For what it's worth, that is, if there was a 5-month flash forward, that does happen
that
post.
Yes.
So she's been,
it makes
dating.
More sense there, but basically she stops dating Brad because he doesn't get that check mark, where there were at least like 8 men of the spreadsheet of men that she has kept over the last 5 months. Where they do have those check. It's a wild scene. There's so many ways that you could just see her with a notepad, just write Brad and cross his name out. But instead, we see that she keeps a spreadsheet of men, and then has a check mark by do they like kids or not when she's surprising them about it. It's a very weird thing. Yeah, it's a very weird thing that's happening.
That's
there.
how she always surprises people with baby. That's how you know they're true.
One of the weirdest things that happens in this movie, that the whole scene where he shows up during the nanny interviews. First of all, they didn't do an open cattle call for nanny interviews. They didn't say, come on out to the house. It's an open house. They have everyone's resume, who they have invited and given the address to. He shows up, they don't have his resume. And then 4 adult women give what I can only describe as the worst possible nanny interview ever given by 4 women at one time. They ask nothing specific. It's all very vague, all to serve the plot. But it starts with Ashley Newbro going to the door, opening the door, seeing he's a man and saying, oh, non-gender specific. I like it. Why would you say it that way? It's the job. You're the one that posted the listing of the job. Unless you specified a gender, why are you surprised that both men and women are showing up? Well, I don't understand.
Yeah.
If you had posted the job and said women only for some weird reason, and then a man opened the door, you would maybe be surprised. But if you post a job for a nanny and then you open the door and there's a man and you go, oh, non-gender specific, I like it. That's a very weird way to greet a candidate for the nanny job.
Yeah.
Right? Am I crazy?
It's a weird way to greet somebody anyway. Just to look, hello. Oh, non-gender specific. You just be like, what?
Or is she commenting on what he looks like?
I don't know.
Is she saying, oh, you're non-gender, you have long
That's
hair?
what it was confusing because he's got the long hair. And I was like, what are you saying, girl?
Yeah, it was one of the more awkward scenes. Yeah, exactly. The face that, if Lee could cut, the face that Jack's just made is perfect for anytime someone said something, you're like, you probably shouldn't have said that. That is exactly what I thought when she goes, oh, non-gender specific. I like it.
When her friend, and I get that it's AI and that she says it's AI later, but when she looks at the photo of his niece, that's not really his niece, and she's like, is that 2 thumbs? Some kids might have 2 thumbs. I know it's a thing with AI, but like very insensitive without the context of the joke.
Yeah. Yeah. The first day she leaves a notebook with the instructions on it for him to keep her baby. And she goes, she says, how to put her down for nap is in chapter 32. Lady, there are maybe 15 pages there. I don't know why you're breaking this up into chapters. I don't know why there are 32 of them. You've made this a lot more complicated, but you do have a spreadsheet of men. So maybe that's just how you
do it.
And then she decides to call in the big guns 3 hours into leaving her child for the first time. She texts all 3 of her friends and says, can you all show up at once to check on my baby? She basically says, I work full time. The 3 of you don't do anything. You clearly all have time to go all check on my baby at one time, which is just crazy. And then lastly, this is a definitely low hanging fruit here, but They go and get ice cream. He's eating chocolate ice cream. She's eating vanilla or vanilla adjacent. He said, what do you think Alice's favorite flavor is going to be? And she says chocolate, just like her mother, and then takes a bite of vanilla ice cream. And it's like, if the script says that it's chocolate, why not just eat chocolate ice cream?
He must have picked up the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Because he definitely has chocolate.
He's eating chocolate.
Yeah.
She says her favorite is chocolate, and then she just eats
He
vanilla.
must have just gotten the wrong ones.
There's that.
It's the only explanation. It's time for What the Hallmarks Were. We wonder what could have been. Maybe have to get to clarify questions we still have. What are we still wondering about? Jax?
We have more movies to find out. So, like, we're going to see how it all shakes out. Is Finn going to be in the other movies? Are they a big happy family? How, like, what's going on? So, yeah, I might not even have to wonder. We're going to find out. And I think, aren't we recording them all in one day?
Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Was that a thing we said we were going to do?
We talked about potentially. God. Anyway, so an interesting thing when she reads his new manuscript, she goes up to him and she's just like, I read it. I can definitely hear your voice in it. But then never really says it's good. And we don't really know what happens with the book. And I wonder if he's just not a good author, if she just like, I don't know how to read that. But what happens with the book? It's clearly too long for a children's book, but it is a children's book. I don't know what's going to happen with this book.
Yeah, it's because of mine, Brand, which is the book sucks. They start having him read the first page or two of the book that sounds like the whole book. I don't know what's going on there, but it sounds like he reads the whole story. When that started, Aaron Shea from the other room said, this book is bad. I'm like, how dare you, Aaron? Don't judge a book by its... Oh, why? It's really bad. It's actually really, really bad. It's a terrible book. He should not be published under any circumstances. How did that get published? That's my What the Hallmark.
There you go. We did everybody.
Or that, what up with that?
What up with that? Oh,
What
there
up
you go.
with that?
What up with that?
What up with that?
Faith or family? Are you more
What's
faith or
up?
family? We'll be back next week with
Family.
What's
Oh, man. Are you guys still doing that segment?
Which one?
Chicken, the
Chicken
of
or...
the
No,
week?
that's just for...
well? That's
chicken,
just for.
yeah.
That's just.
Why would
for,
we do it when
That's
we're
it.
not doing Chicken Sisters?
Oh, you're not doing Chicken Sister.
We already
did
did
it.
it with you, didn't we?
You were there.
You did the whole thing with us.
Wait, I'm for the next season.
Well, we're going to do the next season. They're re-airing this season.
Re-airing season 1.
Yeah.
On linear.
Oh, I thought I was replaced.
No.
Oh, you thought you got demoted to Love Club
That's why
Moms?
I made that joke last week, but was actually curious who was replacing.
Oh,
No, Jax. Sweet cheeks.
Oh, I love you guys. It would be fine if it happened.
Cheeks. We would never. Join us next week for the Love Club Moms : Joe.
Just Joe.
Until then, remember the first to wish you a
Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmarks of Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.